Oh, procrastination.
I never procrastinate anything. I do everything on the dot. No.
Oh, procrastination is one of those words that I think has the wrong meaning behind it.
What do you
Particularly,
mean?
well, so I think when I think of procrastination, I associate it with laziness, but
Hmm.
it's not that. And I think this is where it's taken me quite a number of years to realize that there's a difference in those things. So I was always busy, like always working, and when I was in an office environment, if I had a moment to pause, I felt like I was being lazy. And for years I just kept thinking I was working so much and not really having that space to breathe. But procrastination is actually there to help you to reset and recharge and sort of get your head back in the game. And I never saw it like that. I always thought if I was procrastinating, it was laziness.
Hmm. And I think like procrastination it's information as well, right? Because and some of that has to do with when did we schedule the task for? Is that when our brain is best at doing financial
Yeah.
administration, which is something that I know you and I both procrastinate on quite a lot.
Yeah.
But when is the time that you plan that? Do you work best when there's a deadline looming, or do you need to have the space? And that can also be different for different projects, right? Like my financial admin, definitely, I need a deadline looming. Otherwise, it is not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, my accountant is tolerant of me. Because we've got to submit every quarter of every year we've got to submit our tax information, and I have reminders, but I'm never focused on it until I'm close to the deadline. I don't know what it is about finances, but so I'm in the last month. I get my first, just to remind you that you've got to submit at the end of the month, and then I get like about the 15th. Do you remember that you're supposed to do that? But it's in my brain goes, this is the I need like hours to do it. And
Mhm.
often during the week I don't have that time to be able to put aside to do this. So I know I could do it in shorter bursts, but actually I find it's more efficient for my brain to do it all at once. So
Yes.
and it's just the way that I approach that particular task. So
Mhm.
it might look like I'm procrastinating, but actually it's the way that my brain processes it the best.
Yeah.
And
And sometimes I think as well, procrastination is this is not the right task or the right thing.
mm,
And that's why I can't bring myself to do it. But like there's all these different ways why you might struggle to do a task. Sometimes it's because that you've made the steps too big, right? Like you need to make smaller steps because you've made overwhelming steps.
yeah.
Like first, like because I was like, oh, I have to do this. And I was like, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. And then I was like, today, all you need to do is download the form.
Yeah.
I can download a form. That's okay. And then the next day I can fill out like whatever it is, right? Like, and sometimes when you take the smaller step, that not suddenly you have that momentum, and then you can do the other steps as well. But if you make the whole task the step, then sometimes it just freezes your whole system, right? Like and that's not because you're lazy, like you say. It's just because it's too big a step. You don't quite know what the actions are. In fact, sometimes, you and I, we sit on Zoom and you're like, I don't know what to do. And I'll just go like, first that, click that, do that. And I just sit here and I just watch you do it. I don't even see your screen half the time. I'm just sitting looking at you doing stuff and I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, is this helping? And you're like, yes, this is helping. And I'm like, all right. Like the first couple of times I was like, I don't really know what I'm contributing, but sure. But somehow like it gives your brain an anchoring, right? So
Mhm.
that you can do this task that we need to get done together. Because we obviously we're in a couple of collaborations together. We have a couple of clients together, so often we're like, oh, I can't seem to get past this task, and I need to do this task so you could do the next task, and I'll just go like, can sit here and watch you do the task if that helps, right? But I think you're absolutely right. We think of procrastination as a very negative thing, right? As something that we have to overcome, and something that we shouldn't be doing, and we have to just be more like bring more pressure, right? More hustle, more grind.
Whoa.
Um, sorry, I said the words. But the thing is that it's information. There's information about your system, your preferences, whether the action is aligned, how, whatever, however you want to see that. But I think sometimes we can't bring ourselves to work on something because it's not the right thing yet, right? It's not the right idea yet. So we have to still refine what we're trying to do.
Mm.
I'm having that at the moment with something that I'm working on behind the scenes in my business that I'm not going to talk about yet because I don't know if it's ever going to happen because I'm not entirely sure that it's the right idea yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't seem to work on it. So,
Yeah.
right. So it's information. So procrastination to me is information.
Mm. I find that I sort of block off my diary to give things space, but I will shift them if I'm not in the mood for it. And sometimes there is space to be able to say, not today. I just my brain is not ready for that right now. But what I'd also done is start to plan days, not days off, but I call them health days. So they're times during the week where I don't feel obligated to work. It's up to me. I choose what I do with it. So, I have Friday mornings. I've got a space for the gym. I've got a space for, being able to sort of get into my day. And I find that very important because when I was working all the time,
Mm.
I would then I would then think about the problems in my downtime and the weekend and dreaming. I would dream about work and I found that there was just no time to
I'm sorry.
relax about it.
I'm giggling because this week, because I have my own business, but then I also have my job. And at my job this week, a couple of times, or last week rather, a couple of times, I was like, so I had this thought at 2 a.m. And people look at me and go like, you're not supposed to be having thoughts at 2 a.m., especially not about work. And I was
No.
like, well, I came up with this idea and I wrote it down because otherwise I had to remember it and then I will not sleep at all because then I'm too busy
Mhm.
trying to remember this idea. But sometimes that does happen. But but I think there's also I love what you're saying about building in space, right? You're building in space for downtime.
Yeah.
And I sometimes also think that we have to build in space for integration and processing things, right? Like when you have an appointment that is going to take some energy because you have to deal with a difficult client or you have to have a difficult conversation you know or you have to do your admin and that's a task that takes it out of you because you kind of have to push yourself through it a little bit. Then plan something after it, right?
Yeah.
Plan that time after it so that you have space because otherwise you're already procrastinating on the next thing as well, right? Like, and then it compounds and it gets out of hand. But yeah, I think what you're saying as well, like when we're in your corporate job, like you were always working.
Mm.
And that was one of the first things I noticed when I started my own business was like, oh, actually, a human being can't actually work for 8 hours a day. Like, but in the office, you have your water cooler moments and you go to get your coffee and you go have a smoke break or whatever, you have a little laugh with a coworker or those things. When you're in your own home and running your own business from your desk or your kitchen table or wherever you do it,
Mm.
like you also have to sort of find those ways to break up your day because otherwise it's too much. It fries your brain out completely.
Yeah. There's a guy that talked about how he approaches deadlines, and I think it might have been a TED talk or something. I saw this, and he'll said he has this long runway until the deadline, but he'll do everything in the last possible time. And he said he knows that planning and you sort of getting yourself prepared to do this. He said his approach does not work to prep. So he said, I'm most effective when the pressure's on. I do my best work in that tiny little space at the end. He said, but I've never missed a deadline. I've always got it done. And I thought it's such a interesting way because I that would just break me. Trauma. But but I think that's whatever works for you to get the job done is the right way. And for him, he procrastinates like 90% of the time, but he delivers everything in that 10%. And he said,
Yeah.
I that's how I work. But he said, I know that approach doesn't work for most people.
Hmm.
And I think it's just finding the right modus operandi for yourself,
Hmm.
piecing together what works. I mean, you always tell me that you never you never get up before a certain time. You won't do
No, no,
calls.
I'll get up before a certain time. I just won't take meetings until we're
Yeah.
in double digits. And it's just because I need a slow start to
Yeah.
my day. When I'm in the office, I purposefully show up 30 minutes before I have to start so that I have at least 20 minutes before everybody else comes in. But like, and it's just like I just need to sit and land
Yeah.
and just get used to the environment. And I mean, I don't know, I just need that little bit of space. And I know that I actually get up quite early so that I can build that space into my morning where I can just sit and breathe for a minute
Yeah.
before I actually get started. I can't hit the ground running in the morning. It's just I can't do it.
Me either. But I think the stigma behind what procrastination is it needs to change because
Yeah.
I feel like it's an important part of our business lives is to have that ability to be able to give you time and space to procrastinate because it'll only make you better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, it's just information.